Have you ever wondered how two complete strangers can come across the exact same image and notice two completely different things? Let's take this image behind me. Is it a duck or is it a rabbit? Both. What you're looking at is one of the more famous examples of what we now like to call a multi-stable perceptual image. Just because you see a duck doesn't mean a rabbit's not there. And just because you're seeing a rabbit doesn't mean a duck's not there. And that is what is going to draw us into today's lesson on visual rhetoric, aka the process of analyzing a rhetorical artifact for all of the available design and visual elements that could persuade an audience to think or act in a certain way. And more often than not, your brain, just like a multi-stable perceptual image, is only going to notice one thing at a time. So sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel, and let's walk through the basics of what makes visual rhetoric visual rhetoric. So, without further ado, let's start with the first design element that you can look for in a visual artifact, something that you've been studying since pre-K. You've been building your whole life to this moment. That's right, color. Color is exactly what it sounds like. It's the reds, it's the yellows, it's the blues, it's the using all of those three primary colors and blending them into millions of other just possibilities of color, using those colors in an intentional and rhetorical way. So when thinking about color and visual rhetoric and a rhetorical analysis that you're probably writing, think about the artifact that you're looking at. What colors are being used? Why might those colors be used? Why might the author select those colors as opposed to any other color? Asking questions like this are the foundational steps that you need to make in a rhetorical analysis, but also in breaking down the rhetorical situation in visual rhetoric and deeply analyzing why an author is intentionally making design choices. Although color is an extremely fundamental component of visual rhetoric, I think the runner-up, at least in this video, has to be typography, aka font choice, aka how you decide to display text in an image or in a video. Using typography in an advertisement or a piece of propaganda can highlight keywords. It can highlight a message that you want your audience to solidify in their brains. It can create a navigational map of information. It can add emphasis and hierarchy. It can create a temporal flow. It can add chronological order. It can even, just like with color, add cultural associations. And the use of typography and font and how you decide to display it can really sell the core implicit or explicit message of a rhetorical situation. All right, number 3, let's talk about image use, because when I say image use, I'm literally talking about how an author in an artifact uses images or videos to evoke emotion and logic and ethos, right? Using images of sad dogs in cages with sad music, or happy people gathered around a table eating Pillsbury croissants. In both of these instances, the appeal to pathos or emotion is simply activated by just the image selection and the cultural associations of those images. So think about when analyzing an image or a video, how the actual image use itself, what actual designs, what actual charts, what actual pictures of people or trees or nature or animals or skyscrapers or whatever is being used, what that might actually do to boost or bolster the rhetorical message being sent in that situation. Okay, so last and certainly by many long shots, not least, in fact, this is probably the most important component of visual rhetoric, let's talk about arrangement. Although it seems pretty obvious when I say arrangement that I'm talking about, how things are arranged in an artifact, I want you to think a little bit deeper. Think about not just how they're arranged, but why they're arranged. So I want you to think about what, when you are looking at an artifact or an image or a video, draws your eyes to what specific point and why. So let's go back to our original example at the start of this video. Duck or rabbit? Well, it depends on how I'm arranging it, right? If I arrange it this way, it's definitely a duck. But if I arrange it this way, it's definitely a rabbit. And I want you to think about this, because even outside of multi-stable perceptual images, you encounter propaganda and rhetorical acts of persuasion in your daily life. And more often than not, even though color, typography, image use, and arrangement seem to just be kind of baked into this giant cake, it's actually very carefully crafted and selected to make you think or act in a certain way. So if you like this video, leave a comment, subscribe, like it. There's more to come, more on the way, but hopefully this got your feet just a little wet into the field of visual rhetoric and how you can look at the design choices that an author makes in a rhetorical situation and how those might intentionally persuade an audience to think or act in a certain way. Until next time, I'm Professor B. I will see you on the channel.